What's up, guys? Today's guide might just change everything you thought you knew about the boss. Her kit is way more than just a simple time stop. I'm a Mo fan, and today our star is the Time Witch herself Sun. Since she's such a mechanic-heavy character, this might be a long one. Beyond her basic skills, gear, disc choices, and team rotations, we need to understand how her skill copy works and whether it's a gimmick or a game changer. We'll also look at how to combo her with time stop to unleash some insane burst damage. No more talk, let's dive straight into Heteros. First, let's start with her most iconic mechanic, time stop. This is also where people have the biggest misconceptions. Sun's ultimate stops time for 10 seconds, which includes enemy actions and the dungeon timer. It also freezes teammate cooldowns and skill durations. Basically, everything except Sun enters a state of stasis. During these 10 seconds, Sun can move freely and perform special Tachi attacks. However, you cannot switch characters during this time. So, Sun's ultimate is actually split into two parts. First is the standard ULT damage, which has a max multiplier of around 1500, not super high. Second is her Tachi Flurry. During those 10 seconds, she can pull off two full Tachi combos plus a finisher, totaling about 2800. If you factor in her passives, that's around 3400. So, contrary to the rumors that time stop is just a gimmick, her total multiplier can actually hit a terrifying 5000, and that's without counting discs or awakening bonuses. Also, Sun's ultimate has no cooldown. Instead, it uses a unique resource called Chrono Energy. The cap is 120, and it regenerates naturally at 6 points per second without needing to hit enemies. This means energy recharge stats on your gear are completely useless for her. Simply put, Sun's ULT is fixed to a 20-second rotation with a total multiplier of roughly 5000. Her first playstyle is as a sub-DPS, delivering high burst damage every 20 seconds without consuming any field time. She's a perfect fire and forget unit for teams lacking sub-DPS, like Xiao Ji or Bai Tang. She provides instant damage with zero complex execution. It's very low effort, high reward. The downside, however, is that it lacks any special utility. You also can't trigger sync links during this, because the sync gauge is locked during time stop. So the question is, if I don't need a sub-DPS, should I skip her? Great question. Using her as a time stop sub-DPS is just the tip of the iceberg. The truly terrifying part of the time, which isn't time stop, it's her skill copy. Sun's E-skill consumes 60 chrono energy. Besides dealing damage, it records teammates' E-skills and sync links for the next 5 seconds. The recorded actions will remain on the field as phantoms that you can actually see. When Sun uses her ultimate, all recorded skills trigger simultaneously. This means that on top of her ULT damage, she can effectively copy 3 additional teammate skills. The cost is an extra 10 seconds of energy recovery. Is it worth it? Let's do the math. Currently, character E-skills don't deal astronomical damage. So copying 3 of them won't give you insane numbers immediately. Testing shows that copied skills don't snapshot damage and are independent of Sun's own stats. Instead, they are recalculated based on the original owner's stats at the moment of trigger, including all their crit and DMG bonuses. This means you can't copy the initial burst crit DMG from Xiao Ji's ULT, nor can you copy the grouping or CC effects from Zhao Wu or Jiu Yuan. Because of this, some people think the copy mechanic is a bit meh. Since it competes for energy with the ULT and the raw damage isn't huge, many people are even posting videos calling it a red flag. But is that really the truth? After deeper testing, I found the real issue isn't the skill itself, but that people treat it as a pure damage proc and ignore its real purpose, rotational compression. Beyond just damage, Sun actually replicates all secondary effects of the skill, and the benefits go back to the original owner. That might sound confusing, so let's use Hetero as an example. To max out her feathers, she needs 2 skills plus 2 dash attacks, or 3 skill casts. By using Sun's copy, the replicated skill also grants feathers to Hetero. This saves a skill cast, letting her max out feathers and ULT much faster. Similarly, copying the protagonist's skill can still trigger their instant sync, effectively giving you an extra sync link. For buffs like Hanya's DMG boost or the Butler's shield, Sun's copy can fill the downtime, allowing for 100 uptime. Starting to get it? And that's just the effect for one character. If you copy skills or sync links from all 3 teammates at once, all those triggers will stack. If your sync link triggers effects like surge or dissonance, those effects will also be inherited and triggered. It's a bit complex, so let's look at some real combat. For example, here I use a skill to trigger surge and record it. Since the recorded effect has no time limit, after the initial surge expires, we then activate Sun's ultimate. This triggers the surge effect again because we copied it. Combined with Hether's passive, you can extend Surge to a massive 24 seconds. As long as the Genesis flowers hit the active character, they'll keep gaining energy. Pretty cracked, right? But honestly, even this is just the beginning. Pay attention to the monster's break bar here. During time stop, the monster still retains the sync link effects. If you then use Umbra or Cinder to trigger it, it will proc the dissonance effect multiple times in a row, instantly shredding the break bar. Now you've learned the true way to play the boss, multi-sync shadow clones. She is a true mechanical support. I do have to add a disclaimer, no matter how strong a support's mechanics are, there will be teams she doesn't fit. I'll explain that in detail later, along with how her rotations become much more complex once you start copying skills. For the casual players, brute forcing with raw stats is still the way to go. The current version's damage output is plenty. I'll cover team comps and rotations in detail later, so let's take a quick break for now. Let's see what Boss Sun gets up to in her spare time. Wow, she's actually pretty busy. Apparently, she spends her downtime raiding tombs and grave robbing. No wonder she runs an antique shop. See here? Time stop even works in the vault. It cuts down travel time by about a third. While you can't open doors or loot during time stop, if you use her ultimate combined with Jo Yuan's off-field E-skill, you can basically clear mobs in 0 seconds. The vault has finally met its match. In its strict mother, soon. Besides the vault, you can trigger time stop anytime in the open world, regular domains, or even hospital domains, allowing you to do whatever you want. Plus, her urban talent increases the number of items available in the auction house. If you're not happy with the selection, you can even refresh it. The Witch of Time is truly terrifying. Next, let's look at Boss Sun's build recommendations. Let's start with Awakenings. Nodes 1, 2, and 6 all boost damage during time stop. That's straightforward and makes her a better sub-DPS. Awakening 3 is Sun's core talent. After using her E-skill, her energy regen speed increases significantly, cutting the time from 10 seconds down to 2. It's incredibly strong, but it has a 60-second cooldown, meaning it only triggers every 2 rotations. Awakening 4 restores 10 energy on a kill, which can trigger up to 3 times per ultimate cycle. The downside is it's useless against bosses. Awakening 5 is more direct, a team-wide DMG buff, but only when facing a single enemy. You can tell the devs put some thought into Sun's Awakenings. It seems impossible to have a perfectly smooth ultimate every single rotation for now. But considering how broken her copy mechanic is, these limitations make sense. For a support build, prioritize Awakening 3 for the cooldown reduction. For AoE situations, go for 4, for single target, go for 5. The rest should follow the 6-1 priority to boost her personal DPS. As a sub-DPS, you won't use her E-skill as much, so you can skip 1, 3, and 4. Prioritize 6 and 2. For single target, pick up 5. For gear, the light set is the obvious choice for a sub-DPS. It grants Def Ignore after using an ultimate, which synergizes perfectly with Sun's kit. For a support build, you have 2 options. If no one else on the team is running the Blue Hedgehog set, Boss Sun can take it to provide a team-wide DMG buff. If someone already has Blue Hedgehog, stick with the light set. Since Sun doesn't really need energy recharge stats, you're better off just boosting her time stop damage directly. Now for the disc selection. This is actually different from using Nanali as a main DPS. As a support, her signature weapon isn't as high of a priority. It has a base attack of 570 and 24 crit rate. The passive is easy to understand. Basically, after Sun uses her E-skill, the more skills her teammates use, the higher the crit DMG bonus she gets when she ults. If you trigger 3 skills, you also get an extra def reduction effect. So if you want to maximize her damage, her signature weapon is definitely the best option. If not, there are other choices like Fearless Years from the Battle Pass or Feather of the World. Testing shows their damage is pretty similar. If we set the signature weapon at 100 efficiency with 3 stacks, these 2 weapons sit at about 75. However, this is based on low-level testing where stats haven't hit their caps yet. So, take these numbers with a grain of salt. For weapon recommendations, if you're a sub-DPS relying only on ultimate burst, you can skip the signature weapon since you won't maximize the stacks. As a support, if you aren't chasing Sun's personal damage, the Battle Pass weapon or Feather of the World work fine. But if you want that explosive burst damage, the signature weapon is hands down the best choice. No contest. Alright, some of you might have noticed something. I haven't mentioned the Genesis team once. Since her chorus talent is Genesis-based, why haven't I brought it up? Is there a catch? Don't worry, guys, I'm getting to it. Let's look at her chorus talent first. It allows Genesis flowers to keep attacking during the time stop. At first glance, it seems like a letdown because the flowers have a fixed number of shots and disappear once they're done. So it feels a bit useless. But these 6 flowers you're seeing aren't just from one character. They're a result of Sun's mechanics. I first copied the chorus effects of 3 different characters, added Joyuan and Nanali's talents, and then had Boss Sun ULT to duplicate every single chorus effect at once. I managed to generate 12 flowers in 20 seconds. In a real fight, hitting 12 is tough and requires precise timing. Casual players don't need to push for the limit, just aim for 4 flowers, or 8 over 2 rotations. Now, let's get into the combat breakdown. Start with Sun's E-skill to enter the 5-second copy phase. Switch to Joyuan to use QE for grouping, this copies Joyuan's E-skill. Then switch to the Light MC for QE to trigger instant chorus, which also gets recorded. Finally, switch to Nanali and use QE or EQ for sustained field DPS to max out the chorus stacks before switching back to Sun to trigger the Genesis reaction. Note that it's fine if Nanali's chorus isn't fully charged, you can save it for the next rotation. Once everything is set, use Sun's ultimate for the time stop. This will simultaneously duplicate the recorded E-skills from Joyuan and the MC, plus Nanali's chorus effects. Since we copied the MC's E-skill, their chorus meter refills instantly, setting them up for the next rotation. During the time stop, Boss Sun goes to work with her Tachi. After her finisher, she enters a 20-second cooldown phase. During this window, when other ultimates aren't ready, just cycle through your skills. Since the MC's chorus is full, swap to them, then quickly swap to Nanali to trigger it before going back to the MC's E-skill. Then swap to Joyuan or Nanali to generate more Genesis flowers. By then, everyone else's cooldown should be just about finished. Then we switch back to Boss Sun, use her skill, and repeat the process. If there's a chance to parry, swap to the protagonist to do it. This lets you squeeze in an extra turn. That's the standard rotation for a creation team. As mentioned, she fits into Haver's Overflow team, Daffodil's Dissonance team, and even raw DMG teams like Nanali's or Bizon's. You can slot Boss Sun into almost any of them. She helps trigger more union effects and collapse damage, while maintaining 100 uptime on buffs like Rune and Taint. From that perspective, Boss Sun is basically a universal support. However, there is one major catch. If you want to run Sun in a Haver team, don't activate her talent that lets creation flowers attack during time stop. Haver relies on those flowers for energy. If they burn all their ammo during time stop, the overflow mechanic becomes useless. Then there's the Dissonance team. It looks explosive in the demo, but it's hard to pull off in actual combat. Plus, once Requiem is released, Daffodil will be mandatory alongside Curse and Soul characters, leaving no room for Boss Sun. Finally, for Xiaoji's team, you need Spirit and Phase characters for energy. Since Boss Sun can't trigger unions effectively there, it makes the rotation difficult. Besides, Xiaoji is currently in a brute force phase where she doesn't really need Boss Sun's help to clear content. Overall, between her ULT multipliers, time stop, and unique copy mechanic, Sun is easily the strongest support in the current version. Even as a sub-DPS to supplement damage, she's perfectly viable. Plus, she has the banked time stop and union shadows. Her kit is definitely loaded. And don't forget, she'll be able to replicate the skills and unions of every future character as well. That said, if you're not a fan of time stop or your current team is strong enough, skipping her is fine. She isn't an absolute must-have meta unit just yet. For those considering high awakenings and discs, I should warn you. While Sun's discs offer a lot, her awakenings are heavily support-oriented. Even her max awakening resonance effect is a team-wide ATK buff, so her damage won't match a maxed-out main DPS. So, if you're only chasing raw numbers and power, I don't recommend pulling for high awakenings. Alright, that's all for today. Hope it all made sense. Remember to like and subscribe. If you're still confused or have questions, leave a comment. I'll have more guides on Sun's teams and rotations coming soon. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Bye.